Hello, everyone, and welcome back to InterDreamTeam. It's been a big week for us. Our first video went live on YouTube, and we was expecting, 10, 20 views maybe. Anyway, we reached the dizzying heights of 650 views and got ourselves 7 new subscribers on the way. So thank you all to those who watched, and if there's any returning customers watching right now, then I reckon we've got you on the hook. So we'll keep you on there with another slice of some good chat from my old friends Ross and Rob. Right, fellas. So a big week for Norwich fans like ourselves. The East Anglian derby, and picture the scene. It's 2:15 a.m. the morning of the big game, and our drunken Ipswich friend starts firing off on the group chat. Here's a little snippet. Analyze this. City is shit. Your whole team is shit. And even if you beat us, we will still be 7 points off Leeds, off the top spot. So there is no pressure. Please pass on to Rob.
Why me?
Just enjoy losing, mate. You are shit. Norwich fans are proper wank. Soon as they start losing, if Coley is in the chat, can you tell him? The wheel is falling off. Actually, I'll tell him now. So just be wary. He might have a few whiskies again tonight and try and give us a call. He said he was going to try and give us a call and chuck a bit more abuse at us. So yeah, just something to be aware of, boys. Anyway, yeah, good to see you. Hope we're all right. What we got for this week then, boys?
Well, we got stats again. We got stats and business, and we're going to get straight down to it. We're going to get straight in with a little bit of the old top striking options for this week. We got some good players on form. Salah, of course, you can't ignore him, can you? Like, he's popped up again. Just managed to get his recent stats from tonight. Every time he gets on the pitch, he looks dangerous, doesn't he? Son as well. The fixtures coming up for Tottenham. Son's looking in really good form, looking like he's working well with Richarlison. I just think the way that Postecoglou sets up his team is very attacking. So there's going to be quite a lot of returns. I mean, what are you thinking? What are you thinking to the others on this list?
Well, I mean, I would be interested in a bit of Pedro just purely because they've got Palace and Spurs. So I would say that there's definitely going to be some attacking returns for Pedro in game week 17. But like you say, you're rolling the dice every time with your Brighton assets. So it's not favourable. One thing to just mention, we've obviously got the guy sat at the top of the tree there, Mr. Haaland, the most transferred out player in Dream Team game this week. In case you wasn't aware, Haaland's ownership has dropped 23% this week.
Yeah, and don't ignore Jesus, especially at this time of year. So rude to ignore Jesus at this time of year, and he's actually got some very good stats. You never really know with him. Is he a natural born striker? Is he a goal scorer? But whatever he's doing, he's still scoring some points. Let's have a little look at the midfielders. Look at these midfield options. For me, looking at them, kudos. Look at those stats over the last 3 game weeks. He has been racking up the points. Goals ahoy. I reckon he's gonna be tough to stop. It's a little bit tricky, I guess, in the Dream Team when you've got Bowen and Kudos. Do you want 2 West Ham midfield options? But they're both looking very dangerous. And again, tonight, against, you know, a terrible performance against Liverpool, but still Bowen manages to pop up with a goal. What do you reckon, Rob?
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Kudos and Bowen are two great options and right up there with the points at the moment. But like you said, the fixtures are looking pretty terrible. And then you look at Aston Villa's fixtures and you look at them and you think, okay, we've got Sheffield United and Man United as well, which, you know, is potentially winnable for Aston Villa. And they've got some nice fixtures on the horizon as well, haven't they? Got Burnley, I think, the following week. So I'm looking at McGinn. He's the one. He's 3.9 million, 125 points. He's the one who's standing out for me at the moment. And yeah, other than that, Odegaard for Arsenal. But they've got a tricky game week with Liverpool, West Ham. Not really keen on that. Not so keen on Foden because he's only got a single game, hasn't he? But don't be misled by the Sun Dream Team app because it says on there they've got 2 fixtures, but they haven't because the Brentford one was postponed because of the Club World Cup.
Couple of little wild cards sitting outside of the norm here. You know, anything that piques the interest?
Well, I mean, we just need to look at Elise. I think obviously Crystal Palace don't have very good fixtures, but I mean the guy's only been back in the game for about 4 weeks, and he's chipped in with about 44 points already. So that can't go unnoticed. Just something to keep your eye on. Maybe not for this week with the Brighton and Chelsea fixtures, but going forward, he's going to get more game time under his belt, and just keep an eye on him. Because maybe we might have 2 assets from Palace to be able to get on board with Eze and Elise.
So if we're moving on from midfield, let's have a little gander at the old defenders. Defensive options. Ahoy. I mean, it's a weird one because some of the assets here are almost like criminal not to own them at the moment. Like the Liverpool assets, I'm pretty sure we said last week in our recording that you're going to be maybe looking to, you know, double up, even treble up with some of the Liverpool assets. And I think that's becoming poignant. I know they've got a bad fixture at the weekend. Could be, you know, quite a tricky one. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, one of the highest scoring defender at the moment, number 1. He's just scoring points for fun. Van Dijk's starting to catch him up. Tsimikas is going to be in at left back, you know, probably until like February, till Robertson's back, and he's still only 3.3 million. Even if you went for an outright solid Liverpool defence, that wouldn't be that much of a silly idea, in my personal opinion, because they're going to score you a lot of points. And with the, you know, demise of some of those Newcastle assets, a lot of people were, you know, certainly having Trippier and even doubling up on some of those Newcastle assets. And think until the players coming back from injury for Newcastle come back, then I don't necessarily think should be thinking too carefully about having many Newcastle defensive options. Don't know what you boys think.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Good shout, mate. Obviously, Trent got a couple of assists tonight as well, didn't he? Just came off the bench, as you do. A couple of assists. Bosh.
Easy. It's easy for him. Life is easy for him at the moment.
Yeah, he's got it all going his way, anyway. But I'm looking at Konsa, Aston Villa. Again, we've highlighted the fixtures. They're pretty good. But Konsa is now up to the 100 points mark, the 7th best defender in the game, 3.3 million, and plays, as we know, centre back, right back. You know, he's your man, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Honourable mention there for Porro.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of some, you know, maybe slightly outside the box Tottenham options, maybe have a look at one of the wild card defenders that are a little bit outside of things at the moment. Romero, he is a massive wild card. You do not know what the fuck you are going to get from him. But, I mean, you're probably going to get the odd red card.
Yeah, I know you're gonna get a few minus points for disciplinary issues.
You will, but when he performs
It's
well,
coming. He's going to get sent off.
yeah. Anyone else on here that you reckon? Obviously, we've got Livramento on there, but I've already said he's been scoring good points, but Newcastle, can they keep clean sheets again?
I do like the look of Emerson of West Ham, 2.6 million. He got some good bonus points recently. He's a good option, especially when the European fixtures come back. But at the moment, looking at this game week, like we said, the West Ham defenders, you don't really want to be touching him or Soufal, do you? Because it's going to be a tricky week. But I think once you get past this week, you've got some good games coming up. So keep an eye on Soufal and Emerson for the future.
Big time. And I suppose with those fixtures, you've got to be sort of thinking, are they going to get done again at the weekend? Come the weekend.
But just as a quick caveat on that as well, if you have got 2 million that you need to spend, if you've got 2 million that you need to spend on the defender, then that's an SE option from Bournemouth. They've got Forest and Fulham game week 17, so there's an option there as well, cheap option.
Definitely an option, and unlike some of those really good defensive options, the keeper options at the moment are few and far between. You've not really got a hell of a lot to pique your interest at the moment. I think because a lot of teams are struggling to keep clean sheets. There's maybe a couple in there that haven't performed well over the last 3 game weeks, but could quite possibly do quite well. If you're looking at a budget option, Vicario, Tottenham keeper, he's a really good keeper, and I think all of a sudden they might be getting the odd clean sheet. You got to be looking at some of the stats related to Pickford as well. He's absolutely shot up the rankings, and sort of his clean sheets and save points is getting a little bit out of hand, to be honest with you. So what do you say? Pick out of that bunch of whatever.
Yeah, I like, again, it's sort of keep going on about the Aston Villa ones. I've had Martinez pretty much since the start of the season, and now he's finally coming good. They've got a couple of clean sheets, obviously, recently against Arsenal, Man City, which has helped him a lot. But obviously when Europe comes back, he's going to be playing in the European games as well. And he's only 3.2 million. Currently, I think he's the 7th best keeper on the game. 5th best last season overall. But that can only get better, really, because he's now got Europe. So,
talking about teams, this is what we've been dealing with. Some previous results, a couple of results missing there from the recent fixtures. But you can see, obviously, Liverpool won 5-1 tonight. Big victory for them. There's a few trends showing up there that they can be useful, can maybe not be useful. Perhaps Newcastle's record against Luton, their 29 year ago loss 2-0 to Luton back in '94. Some would argue that's still relevant. Others might say it's a little bit tenuous.
Yeah, well, I do remember that night when it was an evening kickoff, and it was a windy night down in Kenilworth Road, so that may have played a factor.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's still interesting to look back at those stats, but a couple of interesting things that also is going to pique your interest is having a little look at Tottenham again. Great fixtures, bang on about just them, but they've beaten Brighton the last couple of times they've faced them. They've been unbeaten against Everton in the last couple of fixtures. They tend to do quite well against them.
I think once again all signs are pointing towards Tottenham assets for this weekend.
Right, I think we'll move on then, boys.
But yeah, moving on to the injuries and suspensions for this coming game week. As you can see, some teams are faring better than others. Poor old Spurs and Newcastle losing quite a few of their top players like Van der Ven, Madison, Adogi, Bentancur. We still want to see him back on the pitch. But the players that are coming in, they're chipping in, you know. Richarlison starting to come good.
Yeah, they've suffered, haven't they? They're missing some of their like big players, and you can also look a little bit at Man United. They're missing a couple of crucial players in there, like Martinez and Casemiro are pretty big for them. Newcastle, though, like quite a lot of their boys are going to be back like within the next week or so. Like Botman, you know, played a half the other day. You got Murphy, Willock, Barnes, all looking like they're going to be back. Obviously, you're not going to see much of Pope. You're not going to see Tonali. So they're definitely gone. But that's only a couple of players. And Pope's probably the biggest miss there, really.
Yeah, I did see on the Dream Team app, Everton's Mikalenko is flagged. Have you got him on here? Yeah. He's not coming back until after Christmas, because there would have been a chance there to get on board the Mikalenko. He's been racking up some decent points recently, but yeah, not back till the 27th.
Yeah, and that's only estimated, so you want to keep an eye on that. He may not well be back for that Man City fixture. So keep a bit of a close eye, because there's every chance he could miss that as well. But
yeah, so steer clear of these boys. They ain't going to be getting you many points this weekend.
No, they are not. Little look at the old ticker.
There it is, the ticker in all of its glory. Chelsea sitting top of the tree. You can see game week 17 going into 18, 19 and 20, all favourable, all in the green. If only they had an asset we could rely on, and we could just chuck him in there and not worry about him for 5 weeks. How lovely would that be?
Wouldn't it just? And I think probably probably the only consistent asset, although we've recommended an outside choice for Sterling and we've got some reasonable returns from him this week, but Palmer is pretty consistent and he's on penalties.
Palmer's your only option if you're at the bottom of your mini league and you want to try and take a punt on a player who might lift you high up the table quickly. There's a chance Nkunku could come in and hit the ground running, because he's going to be back pretty quick, and no one else is going to have him. He's owned by 0.2% of managers. So if he does come back in and he does start scoring goals, then he's going to be a massive differential for everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Good fixtures for a lot of teams. We've already said Chelsea, top of the ticker. You've got the Tottenham. You've got Aston Villa as well, looking very tasty. You get a little bit down the road, you know, just past 17 into 18. Suddenly, Man City coming back in. If you have not got, if he's back, get Haaland back in for then and some other assets, because yeah, that is, if anything, a good message. So
yeah, subtle. It's a subtle one. It is a subtle one. You really have to pay attention.
Yeah, definitely. And the spine. We know the spine by now. Anyone who tuned in last week. It's just a little guide, because we can highlight the points till the old cows come home about this person and this person. It gets a little bit boring, but I think there's a certain spine to your team that you're going to really need to have, or roundabout have. Probably you're going to want 90% of these players in your team if you're going to want to be high up in your mini leagues. So some boys who are definitely going to be doing it and going to be really important, I think, to be looking closely out for game week 17. We've got Palmer, Konsa, Son, Watkins, and Kulusevski. What you reckoning, Rob?
Well, yeah, like I say, I like Konsa as your top defender transfer, in my opinion. Son is obviously right up there with the old points. He's got a double game week as well, hasn't he? He's got Everton and Brighton, so you can see him notching a couple maybe against them sort of teams. So yeah, he's a good shout. And yeah, what do you reckon, Sully, to them?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. After watching Kulusevski last week, I loved him when he first came to Spurs. His direct running, just going at the fullback, and I think he got injured and he lost a little bit of that. But it looks like he's back, and with the Tottenham fixtures and the way they're playing football, I'm going to be jumping on him. I'm going to be jumping all over the Kulusevski train because I got 5.2 mil that I can chuck out there. So he's going to be one for me this week for sure.
Yeah, I think he's actually. This has been a bit of a mistake on the old amount on there. He's much more of a bargain, even more of a reason because he's actually 3.2. So
well, that's perfect.
You were happy with 5.2. Forget about it. Take your 3.2, get him in the team, save 2 million, give it to your gran or something.
It's a Christmas miracle.
There you go. That's what we give you. We make you happy with something, and even happier when it's cheaper. That's kind of the key. So, just like some of our likely Capitanos. These are fairly obvious from what we've said already, really, aren't they? What do you reckon?
Like we said, obvious ones. I am liking Watkins as a captain option, but I've been doing a bit of delving on the old Watkins, and his goal scoring history against Sheffield United isn't actually as good as what I thought it would be. He hasn't ever scored against them, which is a bit concerning in 5 games. But sometimes these stats are there to be broken, aren't they? So yeah, like I say, you just never know. You could end up getting a hat trick and then it'd be like egg on your face. So but yeah, like I say, when I look at stuff like that and he hasn't scored in 5 appearances against them, it's a little bit concerning. And then he got Man United as well, and he scored 1 in 8 against Man United. So I don't know. I'd probably lean towards your stable, your safe captain, sensible. Yeah, Simon says the old Salah as your captain, your default captain if Haaland's not about. So yeah, I think they've got Burnley, haven't they, in the game week as well? So should be getting some nice points hopefully. What you say, Sylvie?
Yeah, I mean, Salah returned well for us this weekend. I think most of us went for the Salah captaincy, and I think that only could have been bettered in my team if I'd have gone for Trent. So yeah, he's captain sensible, isn't he? He's the leader. He's the Egyptian king. If you've got him in your team and they've got 2 shaky defenses coming their way. No, they haven't. They've got Arsenal, not a shaky defence, but then they've got Burnley. But Salah's got a very good record against Arsenal. So, yeah, why not stick your eggs in the Salah basket once again?
But if you're feeling like something a little bit different, Son could be your man. Yeah. So, also thinking of something different, there's a lot of good fixtures coming up next week. There's a lot of things to think about. There is bonus chips. Most people know what they are. Here's a little reminder. Do you reckon there's any good options coming up? What do you boys think?
Yeah, not so keen on it myself. Depends obviously what kind of state of play your defence is in already, but it's a risky one. I mean, quite a bit recently where people are going literally the whole same defence throughout, and just gambling on that one. But that's a very, very risky one because as we've seen with like say Man City versus Luton, you know, they scored a couple of goals against them. It's like that happens in the Premier League. You can't predict it, can you?
No, you can't.
And with the way VAR are chucking penalties around this season, you know, it can easily just take the.
Fucking hell, it's my phone.
Oh, Ross.
That's Johnny. Johnny, you been on the whiskey again? What's wrong with you? Oh, let me put you on speaker. Bloody doing the recording. Knew this would happen. No, don't get so upset. What did you reckon to the old Ipswich result? You still sour? Tell me about it. Hey, hold on. Bloody can't get it on speaker. Bear with. Oh, mate, you're embarrassing. Look, come on, just calm it down. Look, I'll talk to you later. Fucking hell, it's like 20 to 1 in the morning. See you later.
Not the time, Johnny. Not the time. Did he knew we were going to be recording.
Just ridiculous. Doing the on the whiskey again. Anyway. What were we saying?
Well, I mean, can I just throw my hat into the ring because I actually maybe about 5 game weeks ago I pigeonholed game week 17 for Park the Bus, and it was one of my tactics to get towards. However, it's proving harder than you think because you need to have the fixtures around moving those 5 defenders in, and like you say, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to spread my defense across 4 or 5 different teams. So you need to have the fixtures favorable for all 4 or 5 teams. So yeah, if you're going to do it this weekend, you're going to want to do it with Newcastle, Tottenham, or Bournemouth assets in defence. And if you can get there easily, you're definitely going to score well, I think.
Anything on the other 2 chips? 12th man, max captain.
It's a good week to play max captain if you haven't used it already. Definitely. You got 2 Premier League matches where your key players are probably going to be playing both fixtures, and there's a lot of points up for grabs. So if you can spread your chances, then it'll definitely be a very good week to play max captainship.
Any 12th men for you, Rob?
I haven't really been looking at it. Yeah.
Is 11 men enough for you? Is it, Rob?
11 will be.
Surely
that's a handful.
Never too many men, for sure.
Can you ever have too many men, Rob?
Well, you can't.
Well, there we go.
Oh, I'm a bit worried about Johnny. He sounded really upset there.
Yeah, he did, to be honest with you. So,
hopefully he's going to be all right.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
14 years playing football the Norwich way. I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky to will they ever? I mean, he raises a good question. Will they ever beat us?
Oh, that's what he's kept saying the same thing. He keeps talking about the same thing. But there you go. What are our final thoughts?
Well, it's the week before Christmas, and all through the house, we're hoping for bonus points, and hat tricks aplenty. So let's look forward to our favourite thing about Christmas, which is a massive fixture list. And looking forward to it, boys. Hope that you and yours have a bloody lovely time. Enjoy the big day together. Raise a glass for Jesus. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Jesus.
And get over to our socials. Give us a follow on Instagram. It's at InterDreamTeam. We're on TikTok. Rob, you've got to set up on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. Get amongst
What's
us.
What's our Twitter handle, Rob?
At InterDreamTeam. Yeah.
Get over there. Please give us a like, give us a follow, tell your mates.
Give us a comment. You know, we've had some nice comments, haven't we, boys, this weekend on YouTube and things. I've got one here. Thank you for your lovely smile, makes my day. So, Britain's best pasty. Oh, sorry, they're not the comments. They're my Christmas card this year. So,
if anything, that's testament to who's advising you on your transfers. Yeah. Think about that.
Well, and like we say every week, boys, may the points be with you.
And with you.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz